Let me see here. Hey, hello. It should be live now. All right, so I'm gonna keep talking. If I don't see anyone on in a few minutes, then I'm gonna assume I am talking to myself. But today I will be talking about the Christian church, in particular, the Black church. And I definitely don't want this video to offend anyone because, I was born Christian, born and raised. I do believe in God. Like, it's not an attack on the church or anything of that nature. So, but I do think the Black church needs to be held accountable for a couple of things, which I am going to talk about. I've got some notes and I will be showing a few things on the screen. So, I'm just going to jump right into it. Let me share myself out because I'm really bad at doing that and I need to get better. So I'm going to do that right now because I know that YouTube does not always send notifications because I have not been notified for other people that I follow. So let me do that real quick. Okay. All right. So with this video, there are a couple things I'm going to talk about when it relates to the Black church. And I know there are a lot of different churches, but really when I'm applying Black church, I'm talking to mainstream Christian churches that you will find in the United States, namely your Baptist church, your, Church of God in Christ, yada, yada, because a lot of them follow some of the same standards, at least from my perspective and from visiting a lot of these churches. So I am going to jump into the economics. I'm really going to focus on economics. And then the other thing I want to focus on will be some of the terminology and the power of words. So we're going to talk about the economics piece of it. And then we're going to talk about the power of words and how that really is reflected in when it comes to the Black church. So I definitely do feel like the Black church has a responsibility to the Black community. There is no way that we're shuffling in millions of dollars. I'm going to show some stats that I found on Black Enterprise, but millions of dollars going into the Black churches in Black communities. However, when you go to these communities, you will see multiple Black churches, multiple liquor stores, multiple payday loan places, and also multiple pawn shops. However, you don't see frequently Black businesses in these communities. However, Black people have been shuffling in money to our churches for years. We were fed the Christian, doctrine since the beginning of our time being brought here to the United States. So again, this will be a United States perspective. So I want to get into that. So the first thing I want to share, let me see if I can share this article, is an article by Black Enterprise, and they titled it, "Does the Black Church Matter?" And they're basically saying these different things about, let me see something in here. Okay, so they're basically saying, I think I messed up something. Sorry, guys. All right, let me see if this works for a second. Okay, so let me share this article. And again, this was put out by Black Enterprise. So let me see here. Okay, the title is actually, oh my gosh, Black Enterprise, they always have so many ads. Okay, what is the Black church's role in advancing African American wealth? So that is the title of this article. It was put out in 2017 by John Tucker. He was the writer. What I like about this article that I want to find, have so many images, so many advertisements. Oh my goodness. Derek Jackson. We're still talking about him apparently. Okay. So I want to get into the money. So you guys know I'm talking about the economics first. Some claim that the Black church isn't doing enough to assist with the economic, social, and political progress of the Black community. That's me. I agree with that. The Michigan Chronicle recently took a look at research reporting that well over $420 billion had been donated to the Black church as of 2013. 2013, a figure which averages out to be at least 12 to 13 billion per year. So I want to highlight that piece. And then there was another part in here. Where did the money go? Because that's something else that I was going to talk about. Where did this money go? So the article gets into that. The Leadership Network releases these reports on different trends in mega churches. So we're talking about the TD Jakes, I don't know, he's the only one that's coming to mind right now. But TD Jakes, I think Creflo Dollar would be one. But these really large mega churches that bring in tons of money, right? Well, they found that the largest 7% of churches contain nearly 50% of all churchgoers. So a lot of these churchgoers are going to the mega churches, right? Not the smaller churches, as far as the research goes. Also, they found that nearly 100% of church revenue comes in the form of donations, and nearly 60% of said church revenues goes to staffing-related costs. Staffing-related costs is the pastor, the singers, the musicians, everyone is kind of putting on the show, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. So based on this data, it could be argued that the monies donated to churches in general, which includes the Black church, are being used mainly to compensate the individuals that are directing, performing, managing the church organization, rather than being spent to feed the poor. And it goes into Proverbs 22:9. Okay. So we're going to get into my issues with the church based on that as well. And thank you, everybody. Hello. Hi, Barry. Barry was the first one in here. Hello. Happy Sunday. Hey, Edward. Hello, hello. Okay. So I do have feedback. If anyone wants to get up on and talk about this at all, if you're interested, let me know. So the economics. So the first thing that I was first challenged with all the time was just the amount of time actually spent during church services. I've gone to Mass, the Catholic Church, and it was significantly shorter than spending 2 to 3 hours just at the church service alone. Not talking about, the service beforehand where you're studying in the Bible, Bible study right before. Sometimes you stay after for different events. I've been a part of that. And that's a lot of time commitment spent when you think of, and I'll take away my screen for a second here and stop sharing because I do have something else to share with you guys. But that's a lot of time spent at church on a Sunday weekend when you have a lot of people in that church and a lot of these churches that are in poverty. Our typical standard, they're in poverty. They're working sometimes 2 and 3 jobs, yet they're spending sometimes all of their Sunday, half their Sunday in the church services. So I always felt like that was it just didn't make sense from that angle of you could be either working, spending some time to yourself. And a lot of these women in the church, when you look at the makeup of Black churches, a lot of Black women, you could be doing other things to better yourself, learning, taking on, if you like working, taking on another shift to better your situation. So that's one thing. The time commitment, it always bothered me. Obviously, you don't have to. No one's telling you have to stay at church for 2-3+ hours. However, it is strongly suggested, right? I don't know if anyone's ever felt the look when you have to leave early and you get those. You get those looks, right? So that's the one thing. The next thing is the tithing and offering approach. Now, the churches that I've been to, I'll say the majority have just taken one offering, but I've also been to churches, and I know has been more common for there to be collections multiple times throughout the church service. So you're getting the tithe, you're getting the offering, you're getting the secondary offering, you're getting the pastor's special whatever offering. And yet, again, in these communities, there is poverty, there's high poverty. And so you're telling these folks to tithe and provide their offering to the church. Yet, here's something that I've always missed. Do we ever really see a lot of investment into these people, whether it's entrepreneurship? Hey, I heard your idea about you wanting to start a business. We are going to invest in you. I have really not seen it at the rates, and tell me if I'm wrong, if someone does see this, but I've not seen that scholarship. I've seen some of it, but everyone that goes to the church can't get a scholarship. That's just the facts. So where is the money going? Well, with the article with Black Enterprise, it's going back to the staff, it's going back to the pastors, it's going back to the musicians, it's going back to everyone orchestrating this show, this entertainment, which is how I see it today. So that's the second thing. They're not really empowering, not taking that money and empowering people to invest into their community. Because if they were, there is no way in the world you could go to any Black community within the United States and see multiple churches, multiple maybe Chinese restaurants. I shouldn't even say restaurants, more like grab and go, right? It's not really a restaurant. Pawn shops. You have pawn shops, payday loan, all of these things that don't really affect the community in a positive way, right? They're kind of leeching off of the people that are in poverty, because when you go to a pawn shop, what are you doing? You're trying to get quick money. You're not getting the value of, say, my ring, emerald ring, I'm going to pawn it. Well, I'm not going to get the same value. With, payday loans, jacked up interest rates. They're in these communities for a reason, because they're leeching off of them because they are in poverty. Well, why are there not businesses? If we're saying that these churches, and I'm including the mega churches, small mega churches, all alike, all of them are typically in the Black community. Well over $420 billion have been donated to the Black church, and this was in 2013, so I imagine there's more. Averages out to at least 12 to 13 billion per year. How is it possible today, in 2020, 2021, you visit any Black community and you don't see thriving businesses? How is that possible? Okay, I'm going to pause and look at some comments. So I did see, I believe, Miss Full Roller come in. And hey, Paulindo, how are you? Edward is saying, I feel that some of the mega churches are spending too much on pastor perks. Oh, yes. The fact that some of the pastors have their own planes, but yet the community, what do they have? Like, where is the giving back? And how is that actually biblical is my question of the church. Because, I always go back to the whole parable that Jesus gave of the talents, where you give, the master gave one penny or whatever to their one servant, gave a couple more to another one, and gave a couple more to the other one. Well, they grew that money. The ones that grew and invested it and grew that money, they were found to be righteous. The one that didn't, they weren't. So how is it that the church, they can plot into these communities and not invest? I just don't understand that. Everyone's saying how to follow it though. Hey, Miss Full Roller. Don't say that too loud. Right, Miss Full Roller. Yes. No, I think Edward has an exactly perfect point. So here's something I will get into later, is the whole putting the pastor on a pedestal. That is a big issue. So that was the next point. The third thing is, how can the church tell people to tithe and provide their offering, and yet not teach financial independence, not teach the importance of saving? yes, if you're going to tell people what to do with their money, you need to also tell them the good things that they should be doing with their money. You have the option to tithe and offering. We're passing this plate around 5 times, so you have the opportunity to do so, right? But there needs to be some form of education. If you're not going to give directly that money back to the people, give it back in education. I have not been to a church yet that actually provided, a Black church, I'll be very specific, Black church, that has focused on education and focused on, hey, you're giving your tithe and offering, you also need to save, you also need to invest. That has not been talked about, right? And I'm going to get into a little bit the words that are spoken over the people in the church that are very negative, very low vibrational things. So I'll talk about it. I'm going to show an example of that too. All right. So this is the last point with economics. And this might go into economics and may go into more social, but the whole scenario of the church, where you go into the church and it's almost like an entertainment show, right? You're going there, you're seeing the dancing, the singing, praise and worship, you're hearing a sermon. The sermon is really targeted a lot of times to poor communities, like their audience, right? And a lot of the words, and that's what I'm going to go into next, keeps people in a very poverty mindset, saying things like, in telling the congregation oftentimes to say things like, they're not worthy, they need to be desperate, they're broke but they're not finished, and all these different things. Why would you tell people that you care about to say out of their mouth that they're broke, that they're poor, that they're poverty, that they're not worthy? Why? Why? It's almost a bad brainwashing, and it's almost looked bad for people that if they are doing okay, they're they got a budget, they're bringing in income, they're managing their home life. You don't really need to be here, right? This is for the people that need some help. This is for the people that are desperate. And I am going to show you a video of those words actually being spoken. If you don't believe me, it happens in the church. I literally sat down, and this is what made me realize, sitting down in the church and listening, not getting all hyped up, and just sit and listen. Listen to what gets said. Let me see here. Paolindo saying hi to everybody. I'm doing great, Paolindo. How are you? I feel like I missed some stuff. Oh, hey, Partly Cloudy. I'm doing well. How are you today? Partly is saying, I went to the Winans Church here in Detroit, and they had a $50 line and a $100 line. What? Are you serious, Partly Cloudy? All others were asked to stay seated and wait for their place. Wow. That is something else. That's something else. That's really sad. Very sad to hear. Wow. My light just went out. Wow. I got up and walked out. I don't blame you. So Partly Cloudy, I do want to hear a little bit more about that. And yes, please do make sure to hit the like button. So, okay. Getting back to the economics. So you're charging essentially, and that just brought back something else I had with economics. You're charging $50 and $100 in these lines. So are they setting a limit? My question is, because I've never been to a church, I've never been to Detroit. They're setting a limit, like an actual limit, like you need to at least get $50 or $100 at least line to actually put in your offering. That's beyond me. The other thing that I have an issue with the Black churches, and this could be an issue across churches, but I'm focusing on the Black church, is instead of investing, in the folks that may have business ideas, right? And I'm talking about majority. I know some churches do better with this, but majority as a whole. There are scenarios where the church is selling things There's ATMs. There's what are those machines called? Um, you guys know what I'm talking about. So vending machines. There are vending machines in the churches. Like, okay, so essentially some of the churches have turned into a store. They're selling the CDs after. They're selling the church sermon after. So you're selling religion, but really what I think is you're selling a hope. You're selling hopes to people, right? You're selling this hope to desperate people. And I feel like that's why the audience and the sermons are really catered to those that are in poverty or in severe kind of desperation and needing help. And yes, the church is there to help people, but how are you helping people by just kind of reiterating the same sermon and these communities don't get better? If the church is helping over the past 10 years, the Black community should be thriving at that point. How much can you do in a year, let alone 10 years, a whole decade? There should be some change. I should not be able to go to a church, a Black church, see these people, same people that have been going to the church for 10 years, and they've made no strides in their life. They've made no strides within their community. That should just not be a thing. And now I know some of the, the name it has to be put on the people, but you're spending 2-3 hours plus at a church, and that's just on Sunday. Don't forget Bible study during the week. Don't forget the Bible study beforehand. Don't forget the activities afterwards. Don't forget any type of events. They're spending all of this time in the church, and yet what are they getting in return except kind of this entertainment piece, right? The music, the worship, and the selling of a hope. Tithe and offering, and you'll be blessed. No, we don't really see a lot of people getting blessed. We see the staff, which, again, to the article by Black Enterprise, stating that the majority of the folks that are getting the money, where does money go? Nearly 100% are going back to the staff. So what's going on here? Right. So let me go to comments. You got up and walked out, though. I do not blame you. I don't blame you at all, Partly Cloudy. This girl said, what? Exactly. Barry's like, wow. Should have stayed and put some Monopoly money in the plate. Oh, they probably would have put him out. Who put in this Monopoly money? They asked during tithes for people with that money to stand on each side of the church. It was crazy. So now you're actually highlighting people that are able to give $50 and $100 at a church when the premise is, come as you are. Come as you are. We're here to help you. But you need $50 or $100 to give back to the church. And you need to tithe. You're pressured to tithe. Well, what about people that don't have the money to tithe and give their offering? It's actually looked at as a positive thing for people to give their last amount. They're not going to pay their electric bill. They're going to give the tithe and offering to the church. They're not going to pay their water bill. They're going to give to the church. They're going to skip on their kids, whatever, and give to the church. Why is that a positive? How is that positive? No, we have to educate our people and put them in a position where they can really truly tithe and provide an offering, because that's when you're financially stable. That's when you can really give. When you're in a place where you're not even stable, how are you really able to give? What you're doing is taking away from yourself and putting yourself further in a hole. And that's a big reason why you can go to church, see some of the same people, and they haven't gotten any better. But yet, they're still being sold that hope and that dream. And sorry, I'm in the dark. Let me see if I can. 1 minute. Let me see if I can turn it back on. Nope, it's not working. It's out. It's out for the count. So our ring light is out, but luckily it is still daylight, so I'm not fully in the dark here. But yeah, so And that's my issue economically with the church. Those are some of my issues. It's like they're getting so much money shuffling in, yet the community is not thriving. How is that possible? How is that happening in any other community? Sounds like church shaming to me. Yes, right? I felt because I only had $5 to offer that I was belittled. There you go. So, how is it that we are catering our messages to those in need, saying, come one, come all to the church, yet you need to tithe $50 and you can get in this line if you're 50, you get in this line if you're 100, right? You need to tithe no matter what. We don't care about you and that electric bill. You need to give your tithes and offering. We're going to let's bring around this plate. So I don't like that, because not everyone is going to have the thinking to say, no, I can't do that. I'm not doing it. Some people really are going to truly believe that this is going to help them. Now, I do believe in giving back, but in certain scenarios, we need to help people get on their feet. We need to help people get stable. And a lot of these are Black women, and we already talked about Black women are making less money. Black women end up with less net worth. And specifically, when in their golden years, when they should be thriving, they're not put in a position where they can really retire. So, but they're the ones primarily in the church, giving their all, right? Ms. Furrower said, oh, they are doing exactly what they are designed to do. And Ms. Furrower, let me know if I know you say you have some thoughts on this, so let me know if you'd like to come up. Exactly. Ms. Furrower made a good point, doing exactly what they are designed to do, right? We would think they're meant to help us, right? And yes, thank you, Ever. Please hit that like button. Hey, DOD. Ms. Furrow said the whole thing is designed to keep us down, as when people are in desperate state, they are much easier to control. Thank you, Ms. Furrow. Yes. And I've had a lot of thoughts about that, because why would you really want to get people in a better place, educate them? Because they'll start thinking, they'll have time to think. Because consider it, Monday through Friday, you're working. Saturday, a lot of times you might be working, picking up extra shifts, because a lot of these folks work 2-3 jobs. Sunday, you finally, maybe you had some time to sit, think, relax, reflect. You're spent that whole day at the church, giving away the money that you're earning. So, and I am not saying you should not give to your church. If you are Christian and you or whatever your religion is, every religion does have, you need to give back, but that money needs to be given back out in the community. There's no way that only the staff should be getting in some of that money. There's just no way. There is no way. I see. Hey, Fergamon boys. Hello, hello. DOD says the crazy thing is you give them your money for years. Then when the gas or light bill comes in and you go to the church for help, they will tell you to pray on it. Yes. You know what? We're going to move over to the power of words here in a minute. Okay. Yeah. So one of the things I had an issue with is the thinking. This thinking that focuses on you need to pray. Pray about it. Pray about that, and not really focusing on empowering people to actually do things themselves. It's almost like you're taking the power away from them, saying only Jesus can do it. Only Jesus can fix it. But wait, if you're created by God, how are you not able to be empowered to do things yourself? I mean, you have hands, you have arms, you have legs, you have feet. It's like, if I were to use that mentality, I don't have to walk. Jesus just going to come down, lift me up, and take me wherever I need to go. No, come on, people. We have to empower ourselves. And it's kind of that victim mentality. So to DOD's point, why, if your audience is impoverished people and they're going to listen to you, they're going to give you the money, and they're going to hold you up on a pedestal, why would you ever end that? you would just want that money to keep flowing in, right? Why would I have any reason to end something like that? I'd be stupid, to end it unless I truly cared for these people. Now, why not use the platforms you have to truly educate people and get them out of that type of thinking of feeling as they are a victim? Okay, so I'm going to look at a few more comments and I'm going to show this video. Yeah, Barry Johnson, that was a good point, Miss Roller. You're gonna come up, Miss Roller? Yay! Okay, I'm gonna play this video and then I'm gonna let you up. I'm gonna send the link down in the comments. So let me do this, and I want you, because economics and the power of words, I want you to listen to this. And this is a church I've gone to, so it's not like I am throwing shade. I'm not throwing shade at the pastor. I actually love the pastor and the church and everything else, but I don't think that these folks are realizing what they're doing with what they're saying, with the words that they're speaking out of their mouth and telling the congregation to say. So let's see if this works. You guys know I don't have the best luck with sharing videos. But I'm going to share audio, click audio. Let me see. Make sure I actually, here we go. Okay. So I'm going to share this video. Listen to the words and let me know what you think or what you pick up on. And if you cannot hear, let me know that too.
Look, you just want to worship your God and give him permission. I dare you to look at your neighbor and say, I'm desperate for a blessing. I'm desperate for a breakthrough. I'm desperate to get out of where I am. You need to high five somebody that's by you. They're not sitting by you by coincidence. You need to high five them and say, let's get out of this together. Let's move out of this together. We're going somewhere together. See, too many of y'all come to church. Y'all gonna make me. You too cool. You too cute. You got it too together. You just sit there. But no, if you need something and you know you need it and you know you need it right now. Matter of fact, let me help you. Matter of fact, you can bless your robe. I mean, the folk that won't even stand, the folk that won't even put their hands together, you can be a blessing for them if you just start blessing God right now. Look at that neighbor and say, you have no idea. This blessing is for you. Tell him, ain't no way for you to sit this close to me and God bless me and it not rub off on you. Y'all gonna make me holler. Desperation. I need some desperate folk.
Desperate folks. I'm gonna keep playing.
Watch this. Desperate folk know how to worship God while you in delay. Y'all ain't got time for me. She asked for 12 years, but during that 12-year period, she kept on praising God, expecting God to do something. If there's somebody here that know God has you on delay, which simply means you don't have it, but it's on its way. Turn to a neighbor and say, neighbor, I'm still waiting on it. Tell him I believe it's coming. Tell him I ain't giving up yet. Tell him I know God's got something for me, and I'm going to keep praising him while he. Gotta go. What's my time? Am I done? I'm out of time. But blessed people, watch this, are delayed.
Okay, I think that was the main point in there. So I don't know if anyone picked up on it, but um, the whole, so when it started, the video starts, I'm desperate for a blessing. I'm desperate for a breakthrough. So things like this, when the pastor says, tell your neighbor this or that, I don't like that because, again, breaking down the word. So you're telling someone else that you're desperate. No, in my opinion, you should be telling people that you're not desperate. No, we're not desperate. We are highly favored. We are blessed. We are prosperous. Use this opportunity to tell your neighbor, tell people to tell their neighbor these positive affirmations. But a lot of times, this was just one example because I didn't have time to go through all these sermons. Because I told you, these sermons, these sermons last a long time. But I've heard everything from I'm might be broke, but I ain't this, and oh, something else. My pot is empty. Why are you saying your pot is empty? Um, he also said this: do what you got to do to get. And I haven't played it too far. I think I played it far enough. But he said, do what you got to do to get what you got to do, or something. Get what you need. And I'm just like, why? Why are we desperate? No. But I like Full Roller's comment. um, where is the church when things go bad? That's what I'm asking as well. Where is the church? And again, putting a lot of emphasis on these mega churches because they're bringing in a lot of money. And yes, that's true. Ever God helps those that helps themselves. So why are we not empowering each other? One lady, I wish she was still here, but Della Reese, singer, actress Della Reese, she actually was a pastor. She actually had a church, and it was very different than everyone else's churches that I ever heard because she was very empowering. You can actually find her on YouTube. Let me see if I can search for her name, but she spoke positive affirmations and told people, you can do, I can, we can, you can. Like, how is it that we're going into these Black churches and we're hearing things like this? Tell your neighbor that you're desperate for whatever. No, no. Why? That's like, you guys know I'm a recruiter. I'm not going to tell my job candidate as they go into the interview, you need this job. You just desperate. You just need to. No, I'm going to empower them and tell them you're great. You're valuable. You have the skills. You can do this. Just show me. I just don't understand how these churches are saying things like that to people of their congregation, which they should be wanting them to do better in their lives. So I'm going to put in the link for Miss Burrow to come up because I want your perspective on this. Invite. Okay, I'm going to put the link in the comments. So Miss Burrow, if you want to come up. I know I got a lot of comments to get through. But yeah, that's pushed a lot of people away from the church, especially a lot of Black men. I've seen a lot of videos just asking, why have Black men left the church? And hello, Shar, welcome in. Nice to see you. Paolindo, what do you think about the religion? Yeah, what did you think about that video and just Black church overall? But Paolindo said, if I enter church, I feel sick, my head is spinning, I feel like throwing up. Oh my goodness. Paolindo. It's a lot to take in though, I will say that. Mega churches for sure. I love gospel music. See, and I like gospel music as well. But even some of the gospel music, I think the whole I'm not worthy and all that stuff, some of the music you even have to be careful with because it's just like you say that out of your mouth and you're like, what? So it's not even just, a lot of people say rap music, R&B music. No, you have to watch all music because there are these little things that your unconscious picks up on. And it could be as simple as something like that. all these words go out and they definitely manifest. So you are speaking and you're writing words, they manifest. Mr. B, welcome in. How are you? The richest organization in the world, and they pay no taxes. Exactly. So they're not even paying taxes, but they're not giving to their communities. There is no way. There's no way. Even businesses and corporations are demanded. Like people demand for them to give back to the community in some way. Why is that not the same case for the Black church? When you go to the Black community and you see there are no jobs, you see there aren't jobs, you see there aren't Black businesses thriving across the United States. Now, there are some pockets, there are some churches that are doing better. Now, the video I just played, this church, they do invest. They're trying to invest in their community. They are working on it. I know it takes time, but you should be eventually seeing something. You should see something there. How is it that you can go to any Black community, you can see multiple Black churches, and yet you don't see other businesses? And yes, I do see the church as a business. You're entertaining people, you're getting donations, you're selling stuff in the church, selling t-shirts, selling CDs, ATM machines in the church. There's vending machines in the church. I mean, it's a business. It is a business, for sure. Unfortunately, because it's not supposed to be. Let me see here. Oh, hey, Rice and Beans. I didn't even see Rice and Beans come in here. I didn't even see your comment, Rice and Beans. I must have really skipped over some things. I'm so sorry, guys. I think Miss Full Roller is up here. Yay. Okay, I'm going to open the floor to Miss Full Roller and get her thoughts. Hey, Miss Full Roller.
Hey y'all, can you hear me?
Yeah, your audio is perfect. I love that you have that mic.
Yes, yes. I gotta hurry up and get this video done on it.
Well,
Wait a
Miss Full
minute.
Roller, I appreciate you stepping up, but I would love to hear your thoughts on it because I've been thinking this a long time. I've had multiple thoughts on the Black church and why I stepped away from it because it was just, I think I stepped away in like 2017, 2018. I was just like, I don't do it. I believe in God, but I just can't do it anymore. So I would love to hear your perspective on either the economics, anything that happens in the church, Black churches, and what your thoughts are.
Well, as I mentioned when you brought it up in your last, your last live, well, maybe not the last live, but the live before, that we kind of have a lot of the same, the same thoughts, I think, on the church. We really have to, and it's funny because this came up in a totally different related, non-related live language. And that is so much of what's been used, um, as far as the church, the church goes. Like what you brought up before, the lack, you're not worthy, you're born a sinner. Like, really? But yet, they turn around in the same breath and said that that the babies are innocent. Okay, well, it's got to be one or the other. Can't be both. So that right there just kind of shows you that trickery, that
Contradictions, right?
yeah, gaslighting. It really is what it is. It's gaslighting. Um, and it's I've been out with the church for a number of, probably a couple of decades now. um, because, like I said, because of the contradictions. And one of the biggest things, along with language, the language that's used, that has so many different meanings. And one of the things that we're taught, and especially in religion, is do not question, and to suppress the natural our brain, our thought process, and our instinct. And, you can really control folks, when you do that. Tell them not to question because it's natural for us. If something doesn't make sense, it's either going to, a question's going to come to your mind. You're going to have some type of visceral response when, the BS, we all have a natural built in BS meter. Heck, we were born with a brain. So if we weren't supposed to use it, then why is it up there? And I don't think it's up there just to take up space in between our ears. So,
Mm-hmm. You know what? I have asked questions, and it's really uncomfortable. Like when you make people uncomfortable by asking questions about the Bible, and they don't know, so they say you just shouldn't question that stuff. So you make a great point. I remember when I was talking to my mom about different Bible verses, I had to look up one of them, but the whole darkness is supposed to be evil, but yet there's a verse in I just found it, Exodus 20:21. The people stood far off while Moses drew near to the thick darkness where God was. So it's like, okay, so black is bad. We've been taught black, dark, it's bad. But here's a verse. They must have missed it. They didn't translate this one. They didn't change it. Darkness where God was. So how is darkness bad? Tell me that.
exactly. And see, that's the thing. They'll say that kind of stuff, you know, and they know that, like I say, they, like you mentioned, like I mentioned, they'll teach not to question. So, and like I say, you'll hear this and you might not be able to intellectually verbalize why you don't get it, but your body knows, you know, you automatically know that is built into us because it's part of the survival mechanism. And that is what is really beat out of us. And, let's take it on back even further. But what's that
Oh,
verse? Slaves,
mm-hmm.
obey your masters. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why would, why is slavery, why is that a thing?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it seems like as long as you don't kill them, you can do whatever you want to them.
And the mask
No.
it's still used in black churches. They're still referring
Yes.
to, God as the master. And it's like it's again lots of contradictions when it comes to the Bible. That's why I always say, and even with language, like even if you believe in the Bible, you have to believe that Bible was changed all kinds of ways up because I speak Spanish, and sometimes there's just not a translation for certain words, and so you have to get kind of close to the word, go all about to kind of explain the word. And I'm like, if you're talking about, what is it, Aramaic and Greek and all these different things that people wrote, these men wrote, right? So even if you believe it, it's not. It can't be literal. You can't take everything literal, and so with the church, they want to take some things literal, other things not. So they want to even tell you what it meant. Well, no, 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 that's not what it meant. It actually meant this. See, I have to explain this to you because I have the presence of God. And it's like, how do you have the presence of God? I don't have the presence of God. And we both came from the same, God created both of us. It doesn't make sense. So why is it I have to listen to you and I have the same Bible and I can read it for myself? So why? So it's that thing of like, people telling you to read it, but, I'll translate for you and I'll tell you what it really means. No,
Exactly. And that's where you
just
can
say
get
this.
folks.
Right.
Hmm. That's where they get you. It's because, they're telling you what it means. And like, excellent point that you brought up. Translations, different languages, uh, different languages, that same word can mean something totally different, and it can be mistranslated. I'll bring up an example. Um, the word gymnasium in English, it means a gym, basically a gym. But in Germany, that is a elementary school.
Mm.
Now, see how that could get totally mis
Uh-huh.
interpreted, because I was stationed overseas, and I went off, into the economy, just visiting, like I want to, see what this country looks like. And I saw Jim, and I was like, oh, okay, I can maybe go see if maybe somebody playing some volleyball or something. And I can't remember if somebody was with me, or I saw the sign and I asked, or something, but that's when it was revealed to me, like, no, that's not what you're looking for. That's an elementary school. I don't think you want to go there. That's an elementary school. And I was like, oh, thank goodness I found out, because I'd have been totally embarrassed, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
see, that's what I'm saying, that translation, and like having to depend on somebody else to tell you what this means. Now you're also putting your trust that they have your best interest at heart to tell you what it means, or they can tell you something totally different. And because they done already told you not to question. Because especially if they tell you
Right.
something, and they give you this translation, and something in your mind going, you full of you know what. Um, but you're taught not to question. So you'll go along with, well, because this authority figure, and it's like, who placed you as this authority?
Mm-hmm.
And see, that also, that it brings in this hierarchical thing, that this person is higher, and worth more. That's where we come down to the, you the peasant, you're born the sinner, and worthless. I think that's how all of this, is easily perpetuated, because you can't say that everything is connected, yet you have hierarchy. Hierarchy means something is higher than the other, and the top is not necessarily connected to the bottom. Again, now you have that, it can't be one or the, it can't be both. It's got to be one or the other.
Right, right. And it's interesting that in the church you do have kind of that either one or the other. You can't, what is it they used to say? You can't be lukewarm. You have to be either 100% for Jesus or another. But what does that really mean when you have all these contradictions across the board? Like it's just, and then here's the thing, when you think about instances where you have churches, as it said, things about the LGBTQ community, and they were talking about them, saying that this is not right, and yet a couple years down the line, getting this money coming in, well, we have to be accepting. I'm like, okay, so it's one or the other, except when it comes to you getting this money. You want to pass the plate around to everybody. You want to get.
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's really hard. It's and
Now, I
then
don't have a problem with, if I don't have a problem with, because like I say, we're taught this as kids. And that's what I love about y'all younger generation. Oh my God, y'all are, I just love the way y'all question. I love the way y'all point out the BS. I absolutely love it, because my generation and older weren't necessarily able, to do that. So a lot of us aren't coming to this, we do make this what might be seen as a flip in our perspective. But that's because new data has come in. And I don't have a problem with you realizing that the old data that you were working on wasn't right, and you know, change your mind to do, go with the right thing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make it sound like that I'm demonizing, because people change, because change is part of life. Change is, is the spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. My
So yeah.
issue is the why do you change? That's been my issue. It's okay, are you doing this because you honestly believe the church was wrong?
Right.
Or are
Yeah.
you doing this because you're literally looking at the money and you know that you're going to miss out on X amount of money unless you
Mhm.
include more people? That's
Exactly.
always been my issue.
Exactly.
It's like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, don't
Totally
change
agree.
now. Keep that same energy you had before. It's interesting. So that's why I always think about, okay, the economics of these churches. So I would love to get your opinion on this. Okay, with the amount of money going into the church, so we saw it was between 12 and 13 billion a year, I think. Let me look. I don't want to misquote. Let me make sure I'm saying it right. Yes, between 12 to 13 billion a year going into the black church with the donation between the tithes and the offerings, the second offering, the third offering. They're getting this money. But where is it going? It's going right back to the pastor and the staff, and other people don't get anything, but they're the ones that need it the most. They're your audience. They're the ones that you're saying they're so desperate and yada yada yada. But yet still over the course of 10 years I can visit that same church, see these same people, and they've gotten nowhere. So I would love to get your ideas on the economic dynamic of the black church.
Ooh, child. I promise to try to keep it clean.
Uh-oh. I get it.
I have, hey, me and you, fist bump, sis. Whew, um, the thing, and George Carlin, I think, said it best. you know, um, why, if you have control of everything, got everything, created everything, then why are you asking the little person for money? I'm paraphrasing what he said, and that paraphrasing it quite much cleaner than the way he said it. I totally agree. I'm like, wait a minute, just like I said earlier, put pray on it in the collection plate then. Okay. If I got to pray on it, and since now that you're in need, what you coming to me for? To pray on it. You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? And
Exactly.
what really just made me just totally, absolutely done, completely done. I was at at a service with a friend of mine that became a pastor. They have their ceremony and all that, right?
Uh-huh.
Probably gonna hate me if they ever see it, but oh well, I gotta tell it. You know, gotta keep it 100. And they were talking about starting um passing around the plate, right?
Hmm.
A fund, a retirement fund for the pastor,
Oh.
just like you said. Now, this ain't no mega church, right? This one of them hole in the wall churches, right? Okay, and one of the poorest, poorest parts of town.
So those typical, you go to the black community, you look at any corner and you just see that, you see that. I got
I was like, "Oh, y'all lucky I'm in a good mood," because I was ready to show out just right then. I was in a good mood that day.
Oh
Cause
my
I'm
goodness.
like, what kind of sense do that make? You know, and this was long before, uh, the economic, issues that we've been in for the last what at least what at least 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm like, you know, most of these folks probably, they renting. Like you said, in the cradle to grave employment, it is not a thing, except for the oldest ones that were in the church. Most of the folks that were there were younger than me. Hell, it's not even a thing for my generation. So it's not a thing for the younger generation.
Right.
I'm like, really? You have got to be kidding me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then
And
he
it's that.
repeated it. So I was
Really.
like, because at first I was like, maybe I didn't hear that right. And it was like some I guess spirit must have been like, yeah, hold on a minute, because you heard it right. And I'm gonna confirm it for you.
Retirement fund for the
Yes.
pastor.
For
Yes.
the pastor. Not just one pastor, because they had several,
Oh
you
my
know,
goodness. Yes.
several pastors. And I'm
Oh.
like, really? And like you said, um why we not doing financial
Education.
you know classes? And yeah,
Yeah.
and if you the pastors and the church staff don't know, learn. You're not too old to learn. That's another part of my issue with the church. It's like, because and I've seen this over my many decades on this earth, that we seem to demonize those who question, those who want to teach themselves and learn things.
Mhm.
And then when they want to try to bring that back, and it's like, what what you doing there for? What?
You got to get passed by the motherboard. Oh my goodness. No, you were so right. And you know what? I get, okay, pastor, y'all put the pastor and the team on the pedestal. Okay. We do the same for our entertainers, right? We don't need to pay
Yes.
entertainers what we do, but okay, he's an entertainer and you pay him such. Okay. But even entertainers get backlash if they are not giving into their community. Beyonce, Jay-Z, who else? I don't know, Lil Wayne, whoever, they
Hmm.
get called out for not when they're not investing in their people. What's the difference from the pastor? If anybody should be investing, it's definitely the pastor. It's the one that's called by God, anointed. He has to translate the Bible for you. I mean, he's much is given, too much is required, right? No, we don't need you to just preach at the people. We need you to teach them things beyond the what the Bible says, or even if you want to focus on the Bible, well, the Bible talks about debt. Put it in a sermon, teach people about it. But no, we don't really want. Do we really want to teach people about it? Because if people start thinking about it, they're gonna be like,
Hmm.
oh, I need to save X amount of money. I do need to get out of debt. I can't keep giving you 3 and 4 offers each week. I can't come to Bible study because I need to take this second or third job so I can pay down this debt. I'm not
Hmm.
going to be there on Sunday because I need to take this second job so little Kiki can get whatever. I need to set her up a 529 or whatever it's called because I don't have kids. But yeah,
Hmm.
I have to do this stuff and really focus on the economics.
Yep.
Would we
Yeah.
even be there if you start thinking? Because that's exactly what got me. Because I was in the church. I was doing the, I was on the hostess ministry, the ASL ministry. I was in there. But even
Hmm.
still, I was like, I'm not spending all this time in church. I'm like, I'm gonna come in and do this, and I'm not gonna be there after church. So y'all later. Got stuff to do. And then I started thinking and just reading the word verbatim. And another verse that got me really thinking, I gotta find it, but it's in Genesis where they were talking about the sons of God and there were giants and like I'm like, what am I reading right now?
Hmm.
So God had more than one son? I'm confused. I am confused. This is sounding like Greek mythology, Zeus coming down and getting sons throughout the earth because he see this one and this one and this one. He like, ooh, I want some of that. Like, what is this? What am I reading? What am I reading? So I have to
Mhm.
pause and say, okay, it's man-made. I think Mr. B made the comment earlier. I have to think this is a man-made book. This was written by men. I get it. And I had to sit back, sit at church, and think and listen to what was being said. And I was just like, I don't think this is for me. I just don't
Mhm.
think it's for. I do believe in God, but this ain't for me. So I feel like if more people have the time, because again, a lot of black women working 2, 3 jobs, you don't have time because it's work, church, work, church. If they have time to be educated, they're sitting down, they're thinking, they're going to come to similar, realizations of, okay, something's not right here. Something is not right.
Mhm.
And then the history now, what I don't understand fully is all the history with the whole, kind of creating the pastor for the slaves to kind of keep the slaves in order and the whole history of the black church and how we were taught this from, the people in our country that enslaved us. And so a lot of this same thinking is just we're just building off of that. So was it even, nothing on the pastor so much. They're doing what they've been told. They're doing what they've learned and what they've seen. So I don't judge them, but I do hold them accountable economically. But even a lot of the words that they're saying, it's like I know you probably don't get it, but you telling this congregation to say these words, it's almost like I'm a strong believer of words and they go out and work for you. It's almost like you're spell casting and you're keeping them poor. And now they got to stay going to church because they're still hopeless and you're selling them hope. It's like
Mhm.
never ending circle.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly. And one thing I wanted to also bring out, something that I've noticed is, um, why is it our whether, because I'm still kind of conflicted on this, as far as are all of us, people of color, so-called black, are we all from Africa? I don't think so. I do think some of us are, but I do think a lot of us are native here and native, native, all over the world, because in a lot of lands, the natives are not light skin, are not pale skin. So why is it the native, and I'm just saying native, and this is covering not just here in North America, because there is a South America as well. Um, Not just the natives, in the Americas, but also the natives all over the world. Why is it the native religion, spirituality, why is that demonized?
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Demonized by the so-called church.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially since, we all supposed to be God's creatures. They had their spirituality long before you came along, before you found your way over to their lands. Why is that demonized? And so we don't question that. Why is it I am not reflected in here?
Mhm.
Why is it, my ancestors practices? And that's not to say that, um, that those practices were completely 100% right, because I don't think anything is. And there definitely is some issues because if it was, completely perfect and all that, we probably wouldn't find ourselves in this position. So
Right.
there had to be some issue somewhere, some weakness that, was able to be exploited. But why is it you don't question it? And then when you bring that up, it's like, you get that backlash, Oh, you're doing that devil worshiping stuff.
Everything's the devil. Everything is the devil. It's the devil. Nope, nope, nope. And I mean, here's the thing though. If you just think about the basics of nature and just getting back to the source versus a lot of what's taught in the church and just kind of mainstream, we would solve a lot of our own issues. But no, we don't. And I do think there is a lot of power with getting back to, things like our ancestors. Why is it that we're taught not to, I guess, kind of, what word am I looking for? Not worship, but kind of pay homage to our ancestors and things like that. Like I remember this lady that invented the honey pot products. She said she had a dream. Her ancestors told her the recipe, and now she's making plenty of money. There's people that talk about how they go back into, the natural spirituality and their lives are getting better. So why
Mm-hmm.
would you not want that? And here's the thing, I mean, there's so many religions, but the issue though is when you're saying only this one is right,
Yes.
or you're going to hell just automatically, because my mom has even told me these things, because I have a friend back home in St. Louis, and she's not Christian, but she's spiritual, and she's like, oh, that's not right. You have to choose Jesus, and Jesus is the only way. And I'm just like, but why? What about these other religions? How are we going to say that we're right and we're demonizing other religions? Well, in the Islam, in Islamic countries, well, they think they're right. So
Hmm.
what's the difference? And at the end of the day, you really don't know. You really don't know. When you die, we're gonna see what happens. But what you spend all this time on this earth fighting because of things like religion and politics that are made up, it doesn't really matter. Like, if you think about your spirit, when your spirit goes on, is the religion going to matter? No, it doesn't.
Hmm.
But we're so caught up in this stuff, and just, it's almost like, sometimes I get why other countries are so anti-America, because it is almost like you're constantly pushing this. Give this to us. We take this. Here's the Bible. This is what you need to be taught. This gonna teach you everything you need to know. No, but you just took all of our resources. So it's like this constant, and but people are still saying, no, this is the right religion. Are you sure?
Yeah. And like you said, taking all the resources. So it's like, so my question is, okay, why if this is so gonna meet your every need, you got everything that you need here, why you taking mine?
Right.
And then turn around and tell you, oh, turn the other cheek when wrong is done to you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, who the crazy one here?
Because, okay, and because even in the Bible, you have this dynamic of war, like just Old Testament versus New Testament. All these wars turn the other cheek. So I mean, what are you supposed to believe? It's like there's literally contradiction for everything that you can say in the Bible. And that's why people are able to argue and have arguments about these things, because it's not just plain as day as it should be. It should be like the universal laws. That's easy. We get it, right? We get that. But when it comes to the Bible, why do you need a PhD to get through it and figure it out? Like, this doesn't make any sense. What is going on? And so you're using that dynamic, knowing that people don't understand. A lot of people don't understand the Bible. It is confusing. So they're coming to church for help, and then you're using that. It's like, yeah, this is what you need to do. But you don't have the best interests in mind, unless, let alone, oh my goodness. So this also came to me when thinking about the economics, about there's so many black women in church, a lot of single black women in church. And then you hear stories about, like, I think Pastor Gray, there's so many pastors where there's stuff going on in the church. They couldn't help themselves because, hey, I came to church looking like this. And oh, they just shame myself. They couldn't. I am what is it called? I'm tempting the
The
no,
temptress, the
you're
Jezebel.
but you're holy, right? You anointed holy. You gotta read the Bible to me because I can't get it like that because you were chosen of God and all this stuff that they do. But then when something like that happens, they, and, I'm a man and every man is a sinner. And da, 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 da. It's like a whole
Mhm.
nother dynamic. It's just very, there's so many issues. It's,
Yeah, and there's no accountability.
yes, no
There's no accountability at all yet. To me, it goes back to that, that hierarchical thing. Um, you know, man, head of the household, and all of that. And it's like, so women are taught that, we are the least of lack, So yeah, you think, that you're supposed to do these things, submit to all of this craziness. Like I said, the economics of it, bringing up the, what's the verse that, or the, maybe it's, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's a verse, but you hear this a lot. I'm a jealous God. Okay, jealousy. If you jealous of somebody, now if you all that, now when you all that in a bag of chips, several bags of chips, you don't care what anybody else is doing, who they talking to, or not, or anything of that, because you're secure within yourself. You jealous, that to me indicates some type of lack within you, insecure within yourself.
Mhm.
If you jealous,
It's very interesting. You can see that
and that's
there
preyed
was some
upon.
manipulation. Man, manipulation.
Yes.
It had to be a manipulation. I mean, because when you look across different religions, there are a lot of similarities, and it's almost like someone took this one, like this Egyptian mythology. They call it mythology, but why do we call that mythology? I mean, we might as well call these other things mythology too. But Egyptian mythology, you see a lot of similar things with the Jesus story. It's almost like it built. So there's some truth in there, but there's truth, but then there's also got to be some false things in there. It's just you you don't have contradictions if it's 100% truth. That's just not possible.
Hmm.
Um, I wanted to read this comment. Religion has killed more people than disease, famine, and natural disasters combined. Yeah, Mr. B. He was
Agreed.
also saying, he was saying that you made a good point earlier. It's said that it is the duty of every Christian to carry the word. It's just going.
Yeah. You've heard that saying. And I've heard actual Native Americans, say that, they were told, um, close your eyes and pray, and they were handed the Bible, and then when they woke up, they had the Bible, and who had the land.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's probably what that carry the word coded in that language. See, language. Yeah, that phrase right there probably means that and a whole lot more.
So sad.
More than just, going and preaching the word. Oh no, yeah, that is a whole lot of unpacking right in that phrase. Yep, that's what I was getting at.
My goodness,
Mhm.
it's too much. It's too much. I mean, I wouldn't have as many issues with the church if they just gave back to their communities. I would be fine if they said, we are going to give a percentage back to our congregation and help them create a business in the community. I'd be like, okay, that's great. So they're entertaining people and they are helping support the community. That's great. But it's just they just don't do it. I see pastors with planes and Lexus, BMW, Cadillac, 5 cars, mansion, and then they come back to these communities, and it's like, do you really not have the conscience to tell people you've had to learn? Now that you have money, you had to learn something along the way. It's not going to take from you to teach. If anything, you know, if you're just looking at the financials, you're probably going to get more money, because when I get more money, I have more money to donate. Or if it doesn't, if it backfires, you're doing good. You're doing what you're supposed to be called to do.
Mhm.
I just don't understand it. So,
But it's not about, it's not about the, I mean, it's basically a, patriarchal system. Because, okay, if, where, like, like somebody brought up, where's Mrs. God?
mm-hmm.
There's no woman, and we all know, everything is, connected.
Yep.
A man, a man's seed is just as important as a woman's womb. A man can't have a baby by himself, and a woman can't have a baby by herself.
Mm-hmm.
So this, the idea of somebody's got to be on the top,
Mm-hmm. Right.
the head, because you notice that is phraseology is
Mm-hmm.
used a lot. The head, the head, the head.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means everything below that is less than.
Right.
Your head, yeah, your head is very important. But take them feet away and see what's you ain't going too far.
Exactly.
Take the hand away. You still probably do some things, but you're gonna be a lot slower. Each part is just as important. It is here for its purpose, not the purpose that you assign.
Mm-hmm.
Its own purpose that it came in for. Now it's the job of you to learn what that purpose is. Well, yeah, no, it's not. Because like I say, it's a linear. It's basically a linear system, and all you have to do is observe life and see that life is not. Nature is not linear.
Exactly. And so, and with that, with the idea of that, there has to be, going back to universal law, masculine, feminine, it has to be there. Where, when you look at the church, I don't think I have not, in my personal experience, ever visited a local church and seen a woman leading the church. Now, I talked about Della Reese. I just happened to find her online like years ago when she was still
Mhm.
living. And I'm telling you, if I wish I could go back in time and visit her church because she spoke way different than anybody else I had ever listened to. But yeah, where are the women? Why are only the women serving the pastor a lot of times? Like, even you look at next to mine, the deacons. Where are the women?
Mhm.
Why can't they speak?
Well, that's in the word. Women aren't to be teaching men, as if because
But
just
we
because
teach
you
them when
came in
they're
that package.
we can teach them when they're children. So we can birth these men. We can teach them when they're boys, but we can't teach you when you're a man.
Mhm. Yeah. Or even children, even animals, you know that like I said, there's this hierarchy. And no, everybody has a different intelligence that is needed for the entire whole to function
Mhm.
properly. Just because you're a man don't mean you can't learn something from a woman. Because I'm sorry, just because you were born with that particular package, you don't have everything that you need. And the same goes for women. Same goes for those that are older. Oh, you don't know nothing. The only thing that you got over that younger person is that you have been on this earth chronologically more years than the other. That does not always equate to wisdom.
That's true.
And getting back to the
I would
church,
say.
if that did, we probably wouldn't be where we are now. Yeah, because
Better
wisdom
tomorrow
also calls for
say.
questioning.
It does. That's true, Miss Fuller. So he's saying that, and I don't know if I've seen you here a better tomorrow, but welcome. Christianity and the rules in the Bible are a good moral compass to live by, put off by churches due to people chasing power, politics, hypocrisy, and greed. I would say yes. There's so much good that you can take away from the Bible. There's a lot that you can even take from, like if you look at Judaism, you can take away from that. There's good that you can take away from Hinduism. I mean, there's a lot of good that you can take away from a lot of things. And at the basics of a lot of religion, it's simple. Treat people like, and this is Christianity. Treat your neighbor as yourself. If you treat people as you would yourself, I think we have a lot less issues. But we can't even do that. So why give us all these other rules? We can barely treat each other. Right? We can barely go around without hurting each other. It's simple. I'm telling y'all, when this AI comes over, they're gonna be looking at us and being like, recreate human race, recreate. That's for another video. I talked about artificial intelligence. It is taking over, but I am telling you, they're gonna be looking at us like, where is the malfunction? Man made in God's image. I wonder what gender decided that. Mr. B. Right. Right. And here's the thing, doesn't all kids start out, maybe Miss Fuller, you'll know this, but don't all kids start out with a female gender?
Um, I think so. I think that's right. I can't remember. It's one of the chromosomes that I think it's the chromosome, and I might be wrong on that. But yes, we both have, and it's we both have masculine and feminine. Um, and I really wish we would come up with a different term for that because we've assigned gender to that, and gender has nothing to do with that. But yes, everyone has both of those traits in them. Some have more of one than the other. Some women have, and then again, that's still all what's been assigned, by the society and really the church, because the church is what really is pretty much the foundation of most of our political systems and governments.
That's true. That's true. Very true. I'm glad they brought that up. Mr. B is saying, I believe it's the woman's egg that determines the gender. Okay. You gotta Google it. I know we all have to Google it. We're like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Mhm.
thought it was something like that. Like I thought it was like the X XY chromosome, whatever, and then it determines if you are male and you like.
Right.
So if you're, look it up. I was pretty sure that the gender starts female, and then it's like as it gets determined, and then some people have both. Some people are born with both.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
what happens in those scenarios? But it's interesting that everywhere in the Bible you're saying he did this. God exactly he. Well, if you think about God, if you think about the source, you think about whatever you want to call, it has to be unison. It has to have feminine and masculine. That is the perfection.
Mhm.
That's the only way that we're able to create. That's the
Mhm.
only way that anything in this world is able to create. So how
Right.
we come to religion and all of a sudden everything has changed. There are no universal laws anymore. We just
Exactly. And the universe has been at this way longer than man has. Sometimes I wonder, do the universe, whatever gender it might be on. Like you said, it's probably genderless. It's probably saying, "What the heck did I do? What was I thinking when I created this?
Exactly.
What was I thinking?"
Yeah, I mean, we literally are like just looking at the news and things, like we're slowly getting just the physical that, like, how you're seeing people killing each other and just doing things that are anti-human to us, the actual physical earth that we're living on, we have maintained. If realistically, if we thought about it, we should be maintaining, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we listen to the natives, we would probably be in a better spot. But yeah, we should be not maintaining it, we're destroying it. And then we're creating technology. We're creating this, again, artificial intelligence. That's probably so. Either way, it's like the end game will be at some point. It might be game over for us. Thank you, Edward. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Mr. B is coming in here saying a child's sex is always determined by the father, since men cast the deciding chromosome, either an X or a Y, while women produce eggs that carry an X chromosome. Mr. Okay. We're gonna all have to do our research, because you know me, I'm like, thanks for copy paste. Mr. B. I was wondering, okay. I was like wondering about the mistress. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, thank you. And thank you guys. Yes, please hit the like button and share if you like the video. But yeah, this was a good discussion, Miss Will Roller. I appreciate you coming on. And yeah, I will probably do a part two at some point down the line. But for me, definitely another person in the power of words. I've forgotten a lot of words that are like normally stated in the church through all these gospel songs. Do you remember, are there any words that stood out to you that you like were just like, I don't agree with that, or this doesn't sound right?
Um, the whole, like I say, what I brought up earlier about being, the jealous, um, that the head thing that women are less than, that women aren't shouldn't be, can't teach, and that that just, ooh, even as a child, I was like, what? Yeah.
No, yeah, I get that. It does not make sense, because and you're looking at your audience is mostly women. So how if all of
Hmm.
us left the church and said, "Oh, we done," they would not have anything. And even the men wouldn't be there, because that's part of why people go to church. You know, men go to church because they're like, awesome, that church, I'm gonna go. Yeah, that's some of the
Hmm.
men in there. Either even the ones that are married, they're trying to. I will tell you some stories going to church, and it's like, aren't you married? Started looking at me like that and filled with the Holy Spirit. Like,
Hmm.
what? So I mean, it would go down if there were no women. So how are you going to say that women are allowed to do these things? And then even with the mothers that co-sign a lot of that, and
Ooh,
it's
that's a whole nother can of worms.
oh, oh Lord, the mothers, the mothers.
That's a whole nother can of worms. Don't say that. Be quiet. But it's wrong. Be quiet. Okay.
Right, right. And the other thing that I never understood with, like, so the black about the amount of single mothers in the community. If we have all of these churches, how is it that we're able to have black women having these babies out of wedlock? If that's supposed to be, you wait till marriage, where are the people holding the men accountable? You got her pregnant, you need to marry her. Whether dad's there or not, because we know about, the crime bill and the things that have happened to imprison a lot of the men. But men that are there, the older men that
Mm-mm.
what do the past? No, go find the boy or man, and you need to marry her. Simple. I don't care if you get divorced later, but you need to marry her. You need to make sure the kid has a father and it's legitimate on paper. If we're in the church and we're doing it the right way, how again? Here comes the contradiction of, okay, so we're only following certain rules in the Bible, but we're not following everything. No, there's way too many single mothers in the church. It shouldn't even be happening if we're following the word, you know, fully. But then it does happen. These men need to hold the other men accountable. Why are we just looking at the women? Why is it just to the mothers? They're looking at us like that. You need to spit out that gum, that dress, and looking down on these girls like, she doesn't have any clothes. Can you give her some clothes? What is going on? I just don't. It, it's just too much. It's too much going on in the communities for everyone to be going to the church, following all these morals, the morals to I don't know who pointed it out anymore. It's whoever came in here and pointed that out, that it's a good moral compass. Yet we have all these issues. We had better, like if you look at Black Islam, they had it better than the Christians. Christians were going out partying, drinking, having babies, all of this stuff. But Christianity is right. Like it's just like make it make sense.
No, you can't, because it's crazy. You can't make crazy make sense. That's why it's crazy. But this has been going on. That issue right there, that's been going on, honey, long before the crime bill was passed. Okay, long before the crime bill was passed. And like you said, we still 50, 60, 70, 80 years later, you still seeing the same thing. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. When are you going to get to the point to say,
Exactly. And hi, Percy, with the bag and the briefcase. Nice to see you in here. I'm late to the topic, and I'm too a son of a preacher. My opinion on how the Black church fail us is they don't teach practicality. Yes, we did talk about that. Percy, you may enjoy it when you play it back. We talked about that. There's a lot of things it just does not make any sense when it comes to church, and the fact that we have so many churches and we're not getting it right. Like there's no way we have these many churches and not enough businesses in our Black community. There's too much money flowing through. We can get loans, so we don't have an issue with money in the Black community. We have it. Either we're giving it to the church or we're spending it at these large corporations. But we have the money. There's too many people in our community. Yes, we have some uneducated folks. They're getting money too. Truck drivers make money. Plumbers make money. You can work at Amazon and make money if you manage it right. It's just there's money to go around, but the mindset with the Black church is just give to the pastor, give to us, and we don't pray for you. Not too much. I will pray for myself. Thank you, or get a friend. Like no, thank you. That is a high rate. And hello, Pandy. Welcome. And if anyone else wants to come up, let me know. But no, it's been great talking to Miss Roller, because you guys know you just can't go out and say this stuff. In general, you have to really be careful of who you're talking to, because you will get it. You'll be called all kinds of Jezebels, devils, demons, witchcraft.
oh yeah, hey, I've already been there. Yeah, because see, I like to look at astrology. So yeah, I done been I done definitely been called that, the witchcraft and yeah, whatever.
It's interesting, but yeah, it's been a great conversation. We've been on here for a minute, so no, it was really good to hear from you. If anyone else wants to come up and say the piece, say their thoughts about this Black church, your thoughts on it, you're welcome to. I can put the link back in the chat because I'm sure it is somewhere all the way.
Yeah, it's way up there.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna try to look for it.
But speaking on Percy's point, if they taught practicality, they know that would be the end of the church. At least, okay, well, maybe not necessarily the end of the church, but the end of the church in its form, in its current form.
Right. Right. If we're being practical, there's no way in the world you can tell someone to give a tithe and three offerings and not pay their rent. Like for people that come to the church and say they need help, and the church is not even able to, in a lot of instances, help people in those cases. You're a really good one, maybe, but you can't even get help, and yet it's just not. And again, like the time commitment for me, I would love your thoughts on this because when you go to a Catholic mass, the sermon is maybe 15 minutes. Like I remember I went to my first mass in college and I was excited. I was ready for it. I actually went to English mass and I went to Spanish mass too. Both were pretty straightforward. The Spanish mass did last a little longer, but it was still less than the Black church. But I went to the church on campus and look, some choir, it was a little bit of that, and they sung, I think maybe 2 songs, and we did the offering. It was just one time. Was it 3 times? We did that, and the minister or the priest, the priest actually would pray over people that came to get like communion as well. So that happened. In Black churches, you barely see the pastor. It's a big, especially mega churches, you barely get some face time with the pastor. But no, you see the priest. They come, they teach to you for about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes at most, and we out of there. We're off. We got stuff to do. And it's early in the day, typically, like 7, 8, maybe 9, 10 a.m. They have multiple services sometimes, night service. But yeah, you're in and out. It's not sitting there. Praise the Lord. We got this praise, worship, people running around the church. It's just like almost as if it's almost like just this big fiasco of who knows what's going to happen and show off my bag. I got this whole outfit. I got this going into economics because there's a lot of competition that happens in the church too. Who got the best bag? Who got the best hat? Who got the best shoes? Every church I've been to, there's this non-spoken competition. And it's like, okay, so you're giving your money to church, and the money you do have, you gotta spend all this money to ask them either living off their retirement income or they're working a pretty simple, straightforward job. I'm not talking about the lawyers coming in there like, I gotta show off. It's the everyday people, and there's money to show off for one day at a church. So it's just in the
You telling the truth.
everyone sees it, but no one's calling these people out to be called out. So many things get called out, but no, we're not going to do it because they want that money. You want.
You telling the truth, and like you said, got to have that outfit. And cause shoot, I remember back in the day, you got to have, you had your Sunday clothes. Now that ain't never made no sense to me. Why I got to have clothes just for Sunday, right? And don't be seen in the same outfit twice. And if you do wear it again, make sure it's like months or a year. You wear that again maybe at the end of the year. Like if you got this new outfit in January, you better not wear that again until November.
Right.
And then make sure you accessorize it so that somebody might not notice that was the same outfit, that you had on.
Right. Now, I do understand where the Sunday best or Sunday outfit comes from with, years ago when Black people, we didn't have, these clothing items that we could use. So you had your Sunday clothes, right? At least that was my understanding of it. But yeah, why is it still that we're keeping a lot of these traditions, a lot of stuff that, from slavery to Jim Crow to to all these different eras? Well, are we still in that mindset? A lot of that should have changed by now. We are in 2020. Why are we still doing this stuff?
Hmm.
And yes, Candy, taboo topic for sure. Oh goodness, Percy, you have such a long name, Percy. Percy, get the bag and the briefcase.
Hmm.
One more thing, I see this a lot at my church. Instead of getting up off their butts and making things they believe in, magic, money coming in the mailbox type of stuff, I believe in do for self. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I actually thought that was just me. So I guess there's static coming from your mic only on occasion. It's like you when you first start talking, there's a little static, and it goes
But I'm
away.
hearing it on your end as well when you talk.
Oh, I'm missing my live. Are you
Yeah.
hearing that, Pandy, on my end too?
I thought it was just me, but since I didn't see nobody put anything in the comments, I said, well, maybe I'm just hearing it. So that's the reason I didn't say nothing.
I know. I thought it was just me and like my phone or something. I was like, oh, it's probably just me. But no, I mean, Percy's right. Percy's right. You really. Oh, and okay, I have to talk about this too because the whole magic.
Let me ask you before you start, do you have any other browser windows and stuff open?
I do. I have my.
Yeah, turn all that stuff off and thing that you don't need, like devices that are on the wireless, pull all that stuff off. That might help.
I think it helped. I turned it off my computer. I had that linked, so hopefully it'll be now. I do still hear it a little bit, but oh well. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, the magic. People in the church do magic. People in the church are doing, reading horoscopes. People in the church do all this stuff. So it's almost like there's what is the difference? What's the distinction about going to the church? I don't see it. I really don't see it. That was another problem I had. Like, okay, not only are the babies out of wedlock, the poverty, but everything that you're saying is quote unquote bad. Well, so what is the difference that you're trying to? It just doesn't make any sense. And then what is magic? Like what is magic? Is it just me making some herbs, or is it me using? Is it incense? My mom thinks incense is magic. Anything. It's like anything can be, and it depends on which church you go to, which person you go to. Anything can be bad if they don't agree with it. It's very weird. Oh, Better Tomorrow is still in here. He's saying the media, movie, and music industry need to answer for the evil influence on how people think as well. So here's my take on that. So yes, I do agree. Media, movie, music, but when you're saying that you're on this pedestal, you're holy, you should be you're held to higher accountability, in my opinion. That's just me. But yes, I do agree. Better Tomorrow, the media, movies, music, all held accountable. But I mean, to be honest, the churches and the media, pastors are on media. They're talking about stuff. When there's a president needing to be selected, we see all kinds of pastors talking about it. They're in movies. T.D. Jakes was in a movie. They're all in movies, and we talk about the gospel. I mean, gospel music isn't necessarily good. Again, listen to the words. It's not good because it's gospel. It's too much. Like I don't think the church should be involved in politics, but I am telling you, I went to church and had the pastor pushing for you to vote Democrat. That shouldn't even exist. I've never seen that in Catholic churches. Never. Pandy's saying, oh. Pandy, do you hear static still? Miss Monroe, do you hear static?
Yeah, it's not as bad as it was before. I don't know if it's the StreamYard, the StreamYard itself, because it's been going on for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is StreamYard. Mr. B said, well put tomorrow. Pandy says she's experienced both, where the congregation believes in miracles and spiritual gifts, and ones where practically everything, i.e., makeup, women wearing pants, that is another thing. What's considered? Oh my goodness, the pants are demonic. Oh, what's she gonna do? Like,
Now, see, maybe we had them pants on, then the wandering eye of the one up on the pulpit, you wouldn't have been able to see.
that makes no sense. Like, I'm just like, either way, of course, yes, women are gonna get blamed for anything. Anything happens, the women, and the sad thing is, other women will be the ones blaming the women. That's the crazy thing. I have definitely seen that, Handy. Yeah, the miracle, like just the miracle. Oh my gosh, do you guys remember Benny Hinn? I used to watch his.
Yes.
And, my mom still believes it, but where he would be taking his jacket and he would wave the jacket, and then people just fall out, or all of a sudden they get out of the wheelchair and they hit. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Just whoosh, and the whole thing just stays like, is this serious? Now I do.
Jimmy and Tammy Baker.
What'd you say?
Jimmy and Tammy Baker. But now that might have been before your time because I was little when they were. Yeah, the Bakers. Yeah, look them up.
Oh my goodness. No, I remember Benny Hinn. I was really young. My mom would watch him all the time. A kid, I believed it, and then I got older, and I was like, "What in the world?" I do believe in spirit. I believe, there's definitely, negative spirits and positive spirits, but that just seemed like it. It just seemed just just like too much. Like, come on. If that's the case, everybody to your church. You just touch everybody, and then everyone's healed of cancer, all any other disease. They just come to your church. It's just this stuff is just not adding up. Like, no, I don't have a fan on Mr. B. I think it's just StreamYard. I think I don't know. They want me to buy the package. Who knows? Might be Skynet. Might be just the fact that I'm talking about a taboo subject. Maybe it's saying it's that will cause static feedback too. Oh, really? I'm not using headphones either. And neither is Miss Burrow. She has her mic, which I
Yeah, I've got the headphones on.
Oh, you do have headphones.
But Jessica's had this issue when she was up here by herself.
Yeah, I don't know. Penny, that's a good thought though.
I took them out, so let's see if that helps. I mean, I'm still wearing them, but I don't have them connected to the computer. So.
Oh, let's see if that helps. This will be a nice test for the future. Um, your camera.
Oh yes, Jimmy Swaggart.
Oh yes, I'm a baker. I don't know. not buffering. So I guess we're gonna have to call it a night. StreamYard has shut right now, but I don't want to be buffering. I don't want us buffering. Oh yes, I remember I do not know who Bakers and the Swaggers are though. I didn't know Swagger. My mom was talking about somebody Swagger. I know that name actually. I do. What did they? I don't know what they did. Okay. Oh, it's still there. Okay. Yeah, that might still hear it a little bit. It's not. It was as it was before though. So what's up with the Bakers and the Swaggers? Miss Forwell, it sounds like you seem to know.
Wait a minute, say that again.
Oh, I was asking you about the Bakers and the Swaggers. To be said, Swagger was the one who cried on TV. Cried on TV. I do not know him. No.
Yeah, because he got caught.
Forgive me for I have sinned. He cried on TV. What did he do? My goodness.
Just remember what we talked about earlier. He couldn't control himself.
He couldn't. Yeah, it's getting really bad now. I will end it, guys. But we will definitely do a part 2. We'll talk more about this. Probably not right away, a week or so. And then we'll come back and chit chat about it. But yeah, StreamYard has shut it down. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining the conversation, especially this, as Andy pointed out, this taboo conversation, I guess. But definitely something I wanted to bring up. Overall, really, my question and my desire for the Black community is to put more pressure on the Black churches and demand for them to give back money that's flowing into these churches through donations into these communities. And I'm fine with pastors living a good life, right? I mean, it's fine, but there should be some money coming back, especially when it comes to the mega churches that we talked about. That money has to go back into these Black communities for there to be any positive change to happen. So I just want us to really demand that these things happen for every church, right? And then the other thing is, I really want people to listen to some of the things that are said in these Black churches. I heard the example of, what was it? The pastor telling everyone in the congregation to tell their neighbor that they're desperate for a blessing. Like, no, we need to get away from these positive or poverty type of thinking and poverty words and telling people that you're not worthy and all of these different things, or you're less than, or you're a sinner, and like, if you keep saying these things, how is it going to change? Because every time you're speaking out of your mouth, you are manifesting. So I really ask people to really listen to the words that are being spoken at church, and also in the gospel music that we're listening to. Well, really anything, but on the top of the church. So with that, I'm going to read this comment by Mr. B. Oh, he cheated. I Googled it. It's been a while. Make me cry on camera. He doesn't want to lose people. Yeah, I get it. If you're buffering, then it's your internet speed. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I'm going to try that next time. I'm definitely going to make sure I close out of everything next time and not, so that way I'm not buffering. Thank you, Mr. B. Ms. Pearl, you want to say anything else before we shut down the live?
Yeah.
All good? Okay. Well, thank you so much for.
No, this was a great discussion. I appreciate the invite.
Oh my gosh, of course, anytime. I'm happy you were able to join. You brought some great perspective and good insights as well. And yeah, we'll definitely talk about it again. And anyone that came in late, just watch the beginning and you'll kind of hear more of the examples on the economics front. And yeah, we'll see each other. Everyone has a great night. And if you haven't checked out Miss Full Roller's YouTube page, definitely check it out. If you watch some of the older videos, you'll get a lot of good tips about like finance and getting debt free and things like that. And then she also has trivia events on Saturday nights. I am probably feel like I'm missing them all, but they're really good, especially if you love music, all kinds of music. So if you're looking for something to do on a Saturday night, definitely check out her channel. And then she has other videos as well. So did I miss anything? Okay.
Nope, I think you got it. And I appreciate that.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone. Everybody, have a good night. Happy Sunday. And I hope you all have a great week. And I'll see you next time. Bye.